Well, Notre Dame fans, we have made it to National Championship Game Eve. Notre Dame takes on Ohio State in the title game Monday night at Mercedes-Benz Stadium here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Tyler Horka. That's Jack Sobel. We were just at the joint head coaches press conference previewing this game. Obviously, Ryan Day for Ohio State and Marcus Freeman of Notre Dame talking national title game. And Jack, I want to take it more big picture, though, because these guys were asked, how'd you get here? What was your journey like? The rosters that you guys have, what allowed you to be in this game? And I thought both coaches' answers kind of mirrored each other's on that front. We'll start with kind of the rosters. Ryan Day is very similar to Marcus Freeman in the sense that he wants to recruit high school players. I think most of his roster is born and bred in the state of Ohio. That shows you right there that they're just going to those high schools and saying, these are our guys. Notre Dame has to do it a little more nationally. But, Jack, the sense is it's the same thing. They want to recruit those high school guys, develop them, have seniors on your football team, use the transfer portal to supplement. That's a misconception, is Ohio State just bought its roster. I believe roughly the same amount of transfers Notre Dame and Ohio State you'll see on the field on Monday night. These are two teams that are very, very built on high school recruiting.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think we should note that neither coach made a condescending joke about the other's hairline, so that was a solid start to this one.
Much more professional press conference today.
But no, like you're right. I think like Notre Dame and Ohio State use NIL similarly. Ohio State just has more money to work with, but they use it mostly on talent retention, and I think that's a big reason Ohio State's here. They got guys like JT Tuimoloau out, Jack Sawyer, Travion Henderson to stay for their senior season. It's kind of the same thing with Notre Dame. Xavier Watts, Jack Kaiser, Howard Cross. Riley Mills isn't going to play, but he was a huge part of why the Irish got here too. But yeah, they retain their rosters. They keep guys for multiple years. I think they were asked like how you retain guys who aren't necessarily playing early. And Freeman had a nice point about like you need to make them feel valued, right? That you show them examples like Xavier Watts, who was on scout team for about a year and a half before kind of breaking into the rotation, then the starting lineup, and then becoming a superstar. Those stories matter. Making scout team guys feel valued, Freeman talked about, matters, and that kind of program building philosophy is a big reason both these teams are here.
What also matters is the journey itself. I thought it was very interesting that both of these guys talked about in the offseason knowing that if they wanted to win a national championship, they were going to have to play at least 16 games. Ohio State didn't make its conference championship game, so that's the reason they've both played 15. Otherwise, Ohio State would have played 17. That's something that they prepared for, both of these coaches, in the offseason because they knew. So Ryan Day talked about the offense changing for Ohio State and kind of doing things a little bit differently, if you want to talk more about that. And then for Notre Dame's perspective, it was Marcus Freeman is so into preparation, and that's not only for one single game. This year, it was for an entire season, a season unlike any other that these coaches have ever coached.
Well, from the Ohio State perspective, the interesting thing Day said was like, and this might have been known if you're an Ohio State beat writer, but this was news to us, that like Ohio State's offense was slower this year because they wanted to cut down on snap count to preserve guys for the long haul. Freeman talked about like ordinarily you're going all out for one bowl game. That's pretty much every season until this one. But this time you need to take a bigger picture approach. A big picture approach is the phrase he used to preparing for the postseason. Like it's an interesting balance you have to strike, right? Because obviously every game is the most important game, but at the same time you know that if you win that game, you have to win another one, and then another one, and then another one, and it's so hard to figure out, but I think a big reason both these teams are here again is because they utilize the sports science and give their guys rest, the way they manage their workloads in practice, even going back to fall camp. I think Notre Dame was really, really conscious about preserving guys, and obviously you can't control whether someone blows out a knee or sprains an ankle, but you can control whether they're conditioned, whether they're having too much wear and tear, and I don't think that's been the cause of the injury issues for Notre Dame at all. I think it's just been bad luck.
Freak stuff.
And the pulled hamstrings that we saw last year are no longer a thing for Notre Dame. Ohio State is a very healthy team right now. They lost a couple offensive linemen, but they're largely intact. I think both these teams kind of understanding that modern philosophy is important to why they're here, and they talked about that today.
I think one more interesting thing before we get to a score prediction for this game is that both teams overcame something that everyone outside of their individual programs, respective programs, never would have thought they would have overcome. Nobody thought after Notre Dame loses to NIU, Notre Dame's going to play for the national championship. Nobody thought after Ohio State loses to Michigan that Ohio State was going to play for the national championship. They are both playing for the national championship, and that's very impressive on the two coaches' parts. Moving over to the score prediction here, I'm going to keep it short. If you want to get more X's and O's, you can. I just have a gut feeling that Notre Dame is going to win this football game. Special team. Again, it gets back to the point that I just made. Nobody thought that they would be here. They are here. They're here for a reason. The Irish are going to have to win a rock fight, though, just like they did against Georgia, just like they did against Penn State. If the game flow goes that way where you're sitting there in the first half saying, Notre Dame's not playing a good game, but they're only down one score. They're only down two scores. I think Notre Dame can find a way to win this with defense, with the special teams play. I think Riley Leonard is going to do something, as he does in fourth quarters, to just say, hey, this is who I am. I win these football games, and we're going to do this one last time. I've got Notre Dame winning 28-24. The Irish are probably going to have to score on defense or special teams to get to that number. Ohio State's only allowed one team to score 20-plus points all season. It was Oregon twice. Obviously went 1-1 in those games. So it's going to have to be weird. It's going to have to be wacky, but I think Notre Dame can pull this out.
Well, before I start, I can smell the comments now. Just know that Notre Dame is 3-0 in games I pick against them in 2 seasons on this beat. So in a way, you're welcome. But I think I'm picking Ohio State to win this game. I'm not putting it past Notre Dame by any means. I think a lot of people are kind of framing Notre Dame as like the plucky underdogs in this game, and I'll have a column and then a more detailed feature out on blueandgold.com about that. But like, I don't think that's giving Notre Dame enough credit for the talented and really, really good football team they are. They just find a way to pull out big plays in big moments. I just think this Ohio State team is really, really talented. If Notre Dame comes out in the first half and plays like they did in the first half against Penn State, they're not winning this football game because Ohio State's just a much better team. They're going to take advantage. Yeah. I just think that Ohio State has too many strengths that kind of match up against what Notre Dame does well, chief among them man coverage, but also the athleticism of their linebackers and safeties, I think, is a problem for a Notre Dame offense that relies on Riley Leonard and Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, like cutting off tackling angles and outrunning guys. It's just a lot of matchups that I don't really think work in Notre Dame's favor. But again, I'm not putting it past them because, like you said, this team just finds a way.
If I was picking with my head, I would have said all the things that Jack just said because they're all eloquent and smart and what everyone else is saying about this game as well in more or less words. I'm picking with my gut, though. I just feel like Notre Dame's going to win this game. So if I'm wrong, you can hate me, you can hate Jack. I don't care who you hate. Hopefully we don't hate this football game, and it's a really good one, though, because it deserves to be. I think these two teams are here for a reason, like we just said, and everyone deserves a nice national championship game. So we'll see if we get that on Monday night. In the meantime, definitely hang around this YouTube channel. We'll have a couple more videos leading up to that national championship game, and absolutely go to blueandgold.com where you can read all of our written work from Atlanta previewing this game. So we will see you guys in Atlanta on Monday night.